Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Codeboard once again, and this is Kaushik with you in the third development video for COVID-19 virus spread tracking application in the world. Okay, so in our last video we have developed the application up to certain level where we are coloring the countries in the world map based on the number of infection cases in that particular country. We also calculated the percentage of the deaths and percentage of the cured in the world as well as the country wise. Okay, so in today's video, I have decided to make the application UI in more professional look. So then I have some hosting and I have decided to host that particular application in a live hosting site that I am going to show you in this video also, so that everyone can use it. And so basically, our phase in this video is going to be something like that. We will add some more statistical data in our application, and we will change the UI of the application in some more professional look. And after that, we will upload the full application to a live hosting site. Okay, so that's it. Let's start into the coding. Okay, so we left our coding at this point in our last video. So basically in this point we were calculating the cured and death percentage based on the total world cases. So just let me go over the code very quickly. So basically we are calling an Ajax to a particular API which I found in the internet, and this particular API was providing us a JSON response country wise the current scenario of the COVID-19 virus spread. Okay, and after that we are just passing that JSON response, then we are looping over the data response which we got, and then we are calculating various data like total cases and the country wise cases, and then finally we are initializing the world map and setting the data at that point. So if I now go to that UI, so you can see that based on the current infection cases, the red shades are showing. So the deep red means the higher infection, and the more light shade of the red indicates the lower spread of the COVID-19 virus. And at the very top of the application, we are showing the the total cases in the world and total cured and total death cases. And if we hover on a particular country, then we see that the total cases for that particular country and also the death and the cured cases. Okay, so now whatever we have fetched the data, that is kind of enough for us. Basically in today's video we are going to change the UI in a more professional look. Okay, and apart from that, the data we have already fetched, we are going to show it in more better way so that user can understand the total scenario at a glance seeing the application. Okay, so the first thing what I wanted to do is that I wanted to change the background color of this map. Okay, because we are using the red shade for the country, so the background should be more deep so that it matches the contrast with the red shade on the countries. Okay, and so for that I was just checking the documentation of the jvector.map.com site, and I found that they have a option which is a background color. Okay, so we can use this particular attribute in our application to set the background color of this map. Okay, so let's go into the coding, and just where we are setting the map, let me set the background color. So I just want to set the background color something like a very deep blue. Okay, because that will match the contrast properly with this red color. So for that I just choose a color and I just noted it down in my notepad. So let me just copy it and use that particular color as a background color of that map. Okay, so that's it. Now if I go to the application and refresh it, you can see that it now looks more prominent, right? The maps are showing like it's like glowing now. Okay, so that's it. Now we want to set two tables at the basically three tables we are going to set in the left hand and the right hand side. So in the left hand side we are going to set one table, and the right hand side we are going to set two more tables to show the statistical data country wise in a better way. Okay, so let's go into the coding and let's start adding the tables. Okay, so first I just want to set the map container width a bit low, it's like 55%, and left is 15%. Okay, So now if I go to the application and just refresh it, you can see that the map has been synced, and the place at the left and right hand side has been now blank to add our tables. Okay, so let me go to the code and start adding the section for the tables. Okay, so in the left hand side, let's first add a div class equals to data table container. Okay, and inside the data table container, I want to first add a text that is total cases. Okay, and then I want to add this particular total cases div here. I don't want to show it at the center like it is showing currently. So that is why I'm just copying the uh, div what we have written already here to this location, and later I am going to remove this total upper section. Okay, so that's it. Now I want to add one more div here. Div class equals to data table parent. Okay, and finally inside this div I want to add a table class equals to data dash table and table end. Okay, so let me add the styling for these classes. So let me just that should be all. So this is basically the left section data table, and I also need to add two more tables at the right of the maps container, right? So just copy this thing after the map container twice. Okay, so I need to change the styling a bit, but most of the thing will be same for all these containers. Before that, just let me go over again to this notepad, and I found another color for the containers background which will match properly with the maps background color. Okay, so just set the container background color should be this. Okay, so that's it. Apart from that, just I need to set one ID in this particular container. So here it will be death cases. So in the left hand side container you want to show the total cases. In the right hand side there are two containers. In one I want to show the death cases, and in the second one we want to show the keyword cases. Okay, so the ID here I'm saying let's say death cases container, and let me copy the ID and paste it over here, and I need to set it as keyword cases container, and also I need to set the ID for the first one also, which is total cases container. Okay, so for these three containers I need to set a single CSS attribute separately. Apart from that all will be same. Okay, so just copy the ID from here and set styling with the ID. Okay, so it should be left 0. Okay, and I'm removing the left 0 from here. Okay, instead of I'm setting it using the ID. Okay, so for the death cases container I need to set as right 15%, and for the keyword cases container, that is at the very end, and that should be right 0. Okay, so it should be at the very right of the screen, right 0. So that should be all about the designing. Maybe I'm missing something, so I'll check it later. Anyway, so now we have already defined our tables, but we need to differentiate the table while we'll add dynamically HTML content inside these tables. For the differentiating these tables, I am going to set different IDs for each of these tables. So let's say the first table ID is total cases table. Okay, and just copy it and paste it for the next two tables. Just change the total to death cases table. Sorry, it should be cured cases table, right? Yeah. So cured cases table, and for the second containers, we need to set death cases table. Okay. So now we can select the table using their ID separately. So now let me go to the coding section, and in the coding section, you can see that already we are fetching the total cases, death cases, and cured cases, right? So we don't have to fetch any more extra data. Rather, we can use this data to populate our tables. Okay. So before this particular loop, we need to define three more variables here. So first variable name, let's say total cases, total cases HTML, and it should be blank. Okay, and the second variable should be death cases HTML, and the third variable should be keyword cases HTML. Okay, and let me first start with the total cases HTML. So total cases HTML equals to column start, sorry, the row start, and then row end, and inside the row start and row end, let me define total cases HTML equals to column start, and then the total cases for a particular country, the variable name is cases, and then column end, right? But we also want to add the country name here. So the country name will get by element dot country. Okay, so that I want to add at the next line of the total case number. So let me add a line break here, and then again let me add the country name. So lm dot country, element dot country. Okay, so the line break, and I want to set the country name into bold so that it is more visible for everyone. Okay, so that should be the total cases HTML. So now this total cases HTML string, okay, so it should be concatenated. Okay, so it should be like that. Okay, so the total cases HTML, which is dynamically created inside this loop, need to be set inside this total cases table. Okay, so let me copy the ID from here, and then just dollar has total cases table dot HTML, and inside that I need to put the total cases HTML variable. Okay, so let me go to the application and let's check how does it look like till this point. Okay, so the data are showing here, but it doesn't look good because everything like black in background and the black text. So I need to change the color of the text. And apart from that, I can see that it is like not taking the full width of the left hand side and also the right hand side. Okay, so let me just check. The first thing I want to set the color of the text inside the container. So the color should be white, right? Okay, so that's good. It should make the things white. Okay, so I have just noticed that I have made a spelling mistake here. So let me just fix the spelling mistake from this one. So it should be A, and I need to change the spelling here also. Container, and this is A again. So I just made the spelling mistake once, and then I copied it over and over again, and it just like a coronavirus spreading, and every spelling becomes wrong. Okay, so just refresh it now. Now you can see that this becomes quite definitely, but the data is not coming here just because uh, we need to set this spelling also correct, right? Okay, so that's it. So let me go to the application and refresh it again. Okay, so now the data are showing here in white color. So apart from that, I need to change it as 15% width, okay, so that it takes the full width. Okay, so now it is taking the full width, and the data showing here in a white color so that user can understand it in a better way. And now what we want is that we need to show these total cases in this particular section. Okay, so for that we definitely set the div inside this container, but it this div and this div has same ID. That is why it was not working, because in a single HTML page there cannot be two IDs. So I just removed it, and now if I refresh it again, you can see that the total cases are coming, but not exactly in the way we are looking for. So for that, let me just change the things from here. We just want to set only the world cases, not the total keyword or total cases, because the total cases already I have written inside this particular container in HTML. Okay, so now if I refresh it, so you can see that it is showing at the very top. So this is not exactly again we are looking for. So that is why we just want to add a line break here. Okay, so that's it. Now just refresh this particular page. Now it is coming at the next line definitely. So I want to make this text a bit bigger again. So let me just go to the stat table and make this font size as 30 pixel. Okay, so now it's something like that. Okay, apart from that, I also want that text align should be center and width should be 100%. Okay, so I'm just commenting these things out because I changed the width 100%, so every design will be distorted. Okay, so now it is coming at the center of the full div. So now let me just change the color of it. Okay, so that it looks more prominent. So I'm just adding the inline style here, style color YOLO. Okay, and for the date I need to set the color as red, and for the keyword cases I need to set the color as light green. Okay, so that's it. And now just let me define the dynamically HTML for the depth cases and the keyword cases. So just copy this thing from here and paste it twice inside the loop and change the variable names. Okay, so this should be the depth cases HTML, and then this is going to be the keyword cases HTML. Okay, so that's it. But we want to set here the death cases instead of the total cases, and for the next one we want to set the recovered cases instead of the total cases. Okay, so that's it. Now I need to set the dynamically HTML of the death cases and keyword cases to this death cases data table and the keyword cases data table. Okay, so let me select one by one. So the death cases data table ID I have just copied and just I'm pasting it over here for the total. It should be death cases, right? And now this is going to be the keyword cases HTML, and let me copy the ID of the table for the keyword cases HTML and just paste it over here. Okay, so now let me go to the application and refresh it. So now you can see that the depth cases and the keyword cases HTMLs are already appeared here. So, but the numbers of the total depth cases and keyword cases are not showing here. just because the ID in this particular the container is wrong. It should be the total queued ID for the queued cases and total death ID for the death cases, right? Okay, so let me remove the upper section. We don't need that. Let me remove the upper section styling from here also, because we also don't need that. So just refresh it now. Okay, so things are coming here, but the problem is the same as before. Like we don't need this total date things with this dynamically setting section, because we have already set this keyword cases and date cases text in the HTML itself. So just remove this thing. Okay, so just remove it and also add the line break here. Okay, so that it comes into the next line. Okay, so now if I refresh it, you can see that the things are coming as expected, apart from the percentage is becomes hidden and going out of the page. So we exactly don't need that. We want to make this percentage things text size a bit smaller. Okay, so let me go to the code once again, and the in the percentage section, let me add a span here. Okay, span, and let me add a inline style here, style, and font size should be like 10 pixel maybe. So that's it, and let me complete the span here. Let me do the same thing for the total death cases also. So that's it, and let me end the span here. Okay, so let me go to the page again and refresh it. Okay, so now you can see that the percentage are showing very small way, and it is not going out of the screen. Okay, but there is an issue actually, because the whole application is scrolling, and that is because if you press Ctrl A, you can understand that everything is coming out of the page instead of adding a scroll in this particular table. Okay, okay, so for that, let me go to the styling section of this application, and in this data table parent, we have to set the height for the elements. Okay, so let's set height 100%. Okay, so that's it. It should not be 100% because we are setting the top as 10%, so it should be 90%, right? Okay, so it should be 90%. Let me go to the page and refresh it. So you can see now that instead of the scrolling full application, it is now scrolling only this particular table. But it doesn't look good, right? Because our theme is dark, but the scroll bar is not dark. It's like a white, and it look ugly. So we can change the style of this scroll bar so that it does look good. And for that, let me go to the Google. I don't remember what are the attributes are required to change the particular scroll bar styling. So just search it here. Uh, Scroll bar styling, and in the W3 school I can find it out. So just copy the full thing from here, because you can see the width I can set from this styling, the track I can set from this styling, the handle we can set from this styling. So just copy everything from here, and in our application, after the uh, star styling, I mean the whole page styling, let me set the scroll bar styling. Okay, in the scroll bar styling, let me set the width as just 10 pixel, and this background I am setting the black instead of red. Okay, and this should be gray. Let's keeping it as it is, and let me check how does it look like. So let me go to the application again and refresh it. Okay, so you can see it does look much better than the previous one based on our application theme. Okay, so that's it. So the application is looking now much more professional, but there is an issue still in this application, because the data should be changed time by time, but our application is loading the data at the very first when the page is being refreshed or someone is opening the page. For that, I just want to change something here. Okay. So basically, we are calling the load map when the page is loading. So that's fine. But after that, I want to set something like that for which, the load map should be called after a time gap. Okay. So there is a functionality in JavaScript that is called set interval. So you can set an interval to execute a particular code after a specific time gap. So I can do it in this way: set interval function, and then let me say it is 60,000. It takes the second argument as milliseconds. So 60,000 means 60 seconds, which means 1 minute. That means this code which I'm going to write inside this particular function is going to be executed in each 1 minute. Okay. So the code I'm going to write is nothing but calling this particular function. Okay. So at the very first, the page will be loaded and the map will be loaded in its container and everything will be set. But after that, in each 60 seconds, it is going to call this load map again and again. And so this data should get updated in regular interval. Okay. So that's it. And apart from that, if I need to add something, because I'm going to deploy it in a live environment, so I'm thinking that what I can set for user convenient. Okay, so another thing I just remember here. So I can add an error section here because this is a free API, so I am facing some issues with this particular API. It is sometimes going under maintenance. That is why no response was coming and the page was not loading properly. So that is why if some issue is coming, I need to show some error alert to the user, and for that I need to add an error section here. Okay, so in the error section, let me add the function and just show an alert to the user that uh, problem with fetching data from API, please try again after few minutes. Okay, so if some problem can be seen during the fetching data from this particular API, which is not in our hand definitely, so user can at least understand from this message that there is something wrong with data fetching from this particular API. Okay, so that's it. Apart from that, also I faced one issue while I was testing in our last developed application, that it was sometimes taking a lot of time to fetch the data, and for that we need to show some waiting message to the user. Okay, so for that, let me set a div here for the waiting message. So div class I'm setting as waiting, and inside that particular class, let me add one h1 tag, and please wait while fetching data. Okay, and close the div. So in this particular waiting class, let me add some styling. Okay, so position should be absolute, top should be 50%, let me say 45%, and left should be 35%. Okay, so just I am refreshing the page. Okay, so it's going much of this right side, so just change the left as 25%. Okay, so now you can see that it is showing the please wait message because it's more meaningful to the user while fetching the data. So that's it. So apart from that, anything else do I record? Yes, now this application is fully completed, but I want to add some advertisement for my channel also in this particular application. Okay, so now I want to add a button for my own advertisement. Okay, So that's it. Let me go to the page again and refresh it. Okay, so the button is already appeared, but if I now click on it, nothing is happening here because I have not added any code for the function go to my page. So let me just define this function go to my page, and inside that particular function, let me just add window dot location dot href equals to, I have copied my channel's URL here, so just add this particular URL. Okay, so if some user will click on this particular button, he will be redirected to my channel. So that's the purpose. So if I just refresh it, okay, so as you can see that I am already facing some issue with the API, so it is showing the error message at least. Okay, so just remove it. Now it is coming. Okay, that's it. If I now just click on this particular button, then the user will be redirected to my page. So that's it. Now all I want to do is that I want to host it in a live hosting site, as I mentioned you earlier. So that is the live hosting site I have already. So just let me sign in here. Okay, now I want to go inside the public HTML folder. So inside the public HTML folder, I want to create a new directory here. So the directory name I want to keep as COVID-19. Okay, so let's create it. The folder is created now. So now all I want to do is that I need to upload all the files in my workspace to this particular folder. Okay, so for that, let me click on the upload file and then select all my files and upload it here. Okay, okay, so now as you can see that all the files have been uploaded here already. So that should be all. Let me go to a new tab and open it as codeboard.in. So www.codeboard.in/COVID-19. Okay. Okay. So now it is live. So it is now opening in the site URL codeboard.in/COVID-19, but it is showing not secured because I have not got any SSL certificate. So that should be all. And if someone want to visit my channel from this particular page, he or she can just click on this button to go to my channel. And also, if you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe my channel, and also please let me know your valuable feedback in the comment section. So that's it for now. Thanks.
Finally, I will discuss a very basic syntax structure of jQuery, and then we will complete this video, and from next video onwards we will start writing very basic structures, and then we will proceed accordingly to the